First of all, I'd like to applaud so many of you SJWs who have put your stories out there for everyone. And let me tell you, your stories are doing the purpose that you want them to do. If this is your purpose, is to help others and guide others to be able to make that decision and to know what's going to be expected and the consequences of making a decision. You handle that very well, and I'm thankful for it because it helped me make my decision, which I made a week ago, to write a letter to my congregation and to let them know I want to remove myself from the organization as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Um, I haven't heard nothing back from that yet. I know some say that they want you to come in and talk and so forth like this, or various circumstances they put you through. But I don't plan to go in and talk to no one. I want to send a letter and just let them know that where I'm at. I'm not being. I was approaching being inactive again, and so I think it's been like another month I've been inactive. No, I want to be removed completely from the organization. I want to remove myself and everything. So I applaud all of you who came beforehand and did it for various reasons, of course. Let me tell you a little bit about myself real quick. I was born and raised around the truth. I wasn't in the truth, meaning that as a young man, a young boy, went to the Kingdom Hall, went to the assemblies, and so forth like that. And got to experience a lot as a young person in the truth, but it just wasn't in me to accept it at the time. Life went full circle. I got out there, became part of the world, and then I came back around. Met my wife in 1996. We both steady after a period of time of her dropping me off at the Kingdom Hall and going to her Baptist church that she belonged to. That she eventually started coming to the hall. We both started studying with our congregation PO and his wife at the time. And then we both got baptized in the same year, December of 1997. Same year we got married in. We got married in May. And so she got to serve as a pioneer for many years, working full-time and also full-time in the ministry. I got to serve as a ministerial servant and an elder for many years, congregation secretary, and so forth, and had many responsibilities, many privileges. Of course, however many you can take on it that they'll put upon you, right? And so, but I got to do that and everything. It was totally different from my previous lifestyle, and so I went into it full force and accepted our responsibilities and did my best at doing them and so forth. Whether it was giving a public talk, or whether it was auditing the congregation finances, or anything that they needed me to do. Okay, so it got to the point we started having problems with my wife, having problems with individuals within the congregation, bumping of heads because she's very strong-spoken, outspoken personality. And I wasn't giving heed to it at the time until later on. I started seeing things more clearly. I said, wait a minute. I said, well, I'm here serving in the congregation and trying to help out. My wife is having all these problems that I didn't give attention to. And so when it dawned on me what was happening, and plus a few things that I experienced myself, we just became inactive. We just quit showing up. We was inactive for a pretty good amount of time, probably about 8 years or so. And when we did come back, a few years ago, I'm gonna say like 5 years ago, we came back. And I remember we had a thrift store at the time, and I remember the congregation PO coming to me down there and so forth, and he was basically saying, we need you, we need brothers, so forth, qualified to help within the congregation. And he asked me to come back and so forth, but I didn't come back at that time. But later on, I did come back. We did come back, and at my wife, wanting to, because I was inactive. And I'm like that person, when I'm done with a lot of things sometimes, I'm done with them. But when I'm back. And so I got involved. I started giving small parts, carrying the mic, working the sound booth. And congregation POs had changed. And they wanted to appoint me as a ministerial servant. I didn't want to be a ministerial servant. I mean, one particular elder in the field service, he He said, "Why?" I said, "Brother McBrayer, I heard you reaching out." And I immediately told him, "I'm not reaching out." I said, "I don't like that term." I started having a problem with that term, reaching out. I'm not reaching out. All I'm doing is what I want to do, what I enjoy doing. I'm not like, if that's reaching out, I just didn't like that terminology. For some reason, I didn't like it. It didn't sit well with me. Um, and so they wanted to, in fact, the overseer came and he got with me in the back in the elders room. He said, because at the time, the sexual abuse thing had, I didn't even know what the whole issue was. I think I seen a document on it, the show on it, and but it didn't like really hit me for some reason at that time, like it did later on. And he said, so the question they started asking at that time, the first question came out of his mouth: "Have you ever been convicted or accused of sexual abuse?" I said, "No, I haven't." And then he asked me a few other questions and things of that nature. And he said, "Well, is it okay if we let the congregation know that you're now a ministerial servant?" And I said, "Brother, no." Yeah, circuit overseer. I told him no. I said, not at this time. I said, I told the elders in the congregation, my PO and everything, I told them, I said, I will do anything to help you brothers out that I can help out with it as a regular publisher. Carry the mic, do whatever. Be attendant, do whatever. But no. I said, Jehovah's working with me right now, and I did not want. No, I was done with that. I was done with being a ministerial servant, being an elder, and stuff like that. I just didn't want that no more for myself. So, long story short, a few years went by, and we became inactive again a few months back. 1 more month ago, we were being active. And what happened at that time was this. My wife was saying, this is all through COVID and everything like that, so everybody's on Zoom. And one of the things I didn't like is I was not going to do unless I had a part. Like sometimes they would have me open with prayer, close with prayer, Zoom, or I'll do a 5-minute talk, or I'll do some other kind of part. And I would dress, suit, tie, everything. But if I didn't have a part, I'm not getting on Zoom, fully dressed up, suited up in my own house. I wasn't going to do that. So, I wasn't going to act right in that area. I wasn't going to do that. And I told my family members and everything, kind of chuckle about it. But that, and then after the COVID situation was over, pretty much, and people were resuming, I went back to the hall. And my wife she had stopped going at that time. And so it didn't take much. So what happened one day is that she was telling me about turning our field service time. And I said, I ain't got no time. Which I did. I said, I ain't have no time. And the panic that Jehovah's Witnesses have behind not turning the field service time for 1 month. Like, you're going to die if you don't turn the field service to 1 month. And that just bothered me so bad at that time. I was like, this don't make no sense. Like, what's going to happen if you don't turn the field service for 1 month? Is Jehovah going to destroy you, not let you into the new world? It just didn't make no sense. So, no field service time turned in. Congregation PO said, because they broke down into various service groups. We was in his service group, and he said, y'all don't talk to nobody? No, we didn't talk to nobody. And so we was getting to the point where, look here, we know it's going to fade out. We know it's going to go inactive for sure. I quit going back to the meetings and everything. My wife had a heart-to-heart talk with me, and I knew I didn't want to be a witness no more. She definitely didn't want to be. And so I said, just give me some time. Give me some time. Let me think about this, because what was stopping me at the time from writing a letter, believe it or not, and I'm sure many others know about this, is that you're going to lose that relationship with certain family members. You're going to lose it. So once I got over that little hump, because not to go too deep into this area yet, but just to kind of touch it briefly, is that many of my family members have already, throughout time, kind of distanced themselves from you anyhow, because they feel like you're spiritually weak or something like that, they call it. And so once I got over the fact that, okay, come to grip with this, and hearing, and this is when you guys coming, XJWs, men and women out there, husband and wives out there, this is when y'all come in, because hearing y'all's testimonies and hearing what y'all had to go through that was so much worse than what I had to go through. I said, if they can do it going through all of that, so much more, so can I. And that's the reason why I want to really thank you. So we wrote letters about a little over a week ago, having no response, ain't anticipating one, ain't concerned about getting a response to it. Just wanted to let them know and so forth. But that's all I want to come on real quick, share my experience of being a JW, growing up around the truth, not being in the truth, going into the world, coming full cycle, getting involved, getting baptized, getting involved in the organization, minister of servant, elder, my wife a pioneer, then coming to the point of being an actor, and then finally writing that letter. I do not want to be part of an organization that harbors. Let me get a little closer and say this. I do not want to be part of an organization that harbors pedophiles worldwide. And the secrets that you learn this organization holds is so, to me, demonistic. And so I had come to the conclusion that Jehovah cannot be, God cannot be with these people. Thank you, folks, for your time and for listening to me. I hope to do another video. I hope to get my wife on here at a later point, so she can share her views and things that she went through, and I'm sure we all can relate to one another in some kind of form or fashion. Y'all take care.